it's upsetting.
But
But
guys,
seeing Kenska has made me happy.
we are getting started here. First round between VOTF going up right now. Let's open up our map and check out the splits. Once again, it's going to be VOTF versus 10 Seconds to Rage. We did have that bit of an exchange though on the beach. I don't think they actually engaged there. But nonetheless, we're already having Lypion make his way over here to the mine. He is going to get pulled back by Posse over here. Posse's going to be able, should be able at least to keep him off the point long enough for Super to actually get the full cap. And as well, we have Lord Hellseth coming up around the back of middle node. Tage will be on it, bunkering for them. And back over here too, we have two blue team members currently trying to knock out the Kanscott, who is assaulting the Henchman at the moment. Angel Chaos actually deciding probably to go over here to mid instead, just to keep a team fight going there.
Yeah, he did exactly what I said he'd do. He'd go, and then Vengeance of Fallen kept two back. So they did get the 2 cap. But you know what? They've not got him down. They've not killed him. He's down and back up at 50% HP. He's got a couple of stuns off, and maybe needs to get that tool belt off. He did use his Elixir 5, so he's going to try and use a blast maybe to try and get some retaliation. So the Warrior's trying to get a bit more DPS back on him. He's got his heal back up, so he's going to blast that. It's going to move back onto Flamethrower. Didn't have his cooldown, but he tried to knock down Super there, but he didn't get it. Unfortunately, he just dodged. Maybe had a block up as well. He's doing very well. He's actually keeping him off the point. I think he's going to contest it. He's got 2 more ticks left. Oh, nice!
He got
nice.
It. Nicely
good
done.
Man. Well done. That was really good because he had 2 guys on him there. Oh, Hellseth's down.
Now we
over at Henge.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as well, Kanscout was in the down state, actually. Kanscout was down, but he managed to resurrect himself back up. He actually pulled away from the bit of an engagement we were just watching that was going on over here and got himself back over here onto the Henge node itself. Chosen Sin has now come in here in order to stop that, and there's going to be another joining him as well, so Kanscout is going to be outnumbered at the moment in this 2v1 scenario. With that said, he's going to be falling back, probably again going over there to the mid-fight, where at the moment we do have Titanium going up against Tage. They're really just going at each other. Nothing's going to happen there, so more than likely they'll just await for reinforcements coming, which is going to come in the form. Blue team will get the reinforcements here first. It's going to be Angel Chaos coming in to assist for 10 Seconds to Rage.
Whoa, I just saw Mister go down trying to get some damage off on Kanscout. He went from 100% HP to about 20%. The burst he got down on him was so good. Wow, he's keeping their close point. All right, Red are being beaten only by 20 points at the moment, but you know what? They're playing really well. There's some nice plays going on from Blue. I think Vengeance of the Fallen having a bit of a worry because a lot of high-level teams are not using decap NGs at the moment because they've got their team set up. And with these new teams that are going to come in, they're going to have all the newer specs. They're going to be a bit braver with the way they're playing because they've got nothing to prove. So that decap NG, who did such a good job over at FAR, he's going to be heading back there again, I believe.
Yeah,
Where
probably.
is he?
He's down at the moment. Lypion is. Lypion is down over to there at over at Farpoint. He was just taken down by 2 members of VOTF, and they are now moving their way on the mid in hopes of taking that. Talking about that build, actually, Lypion's build. I've heard of this from a couple people now. So it is very good, again, because it's the decap NG, at taking the decap over at Farpoint and then holding it. You can do it at close point too, but obviously it's not going to be as much use there. The issue with it is the fact that it doesn't really do much to assist with a team fight, and as well, it's really not going to be able to kill anyone, in all honesty. It doesn't really have enough damage for that, at least not in my opinion. It's really just for controlling people and keeping them off point. So you're really going to be basically down 1 man in most of your team fights because he's not going to be able to do much even if he is in those, besides provide some CC, and most of that CC is going to be really hard to put off in those team fights compared to when it would be like in a 1v1 or 1v2 scenario on node.
I used to agree. And then I switched because I've actually been playing this spec for a long time, and there might have been a couple of people who played it before me, but I've actually been playing it maybe one of the first. I'm gonna say this, but I think I was one of the first people to play this because I used to theory craft with another engineer, and we used to run through these specs. But the thing is, the one thing that's really good in this spec, if you can mix it with mines. And doing the dodge mine heals as well. When you're dodging those heals, you get about 300 per heal per explosion, and the big bomb as well. So you can actually get quite a lot of healing off in team fights, and little tiny bits of stuff actually count. But those CCs, like the flamethrower CC, which is actually a good AOE knockback. That's a really nice one, and the net is really nice as well because you can actually focus down someone. You can be right, I'm netting him, knockback, knockback, knockback. and we've smashed him out, you know. So sometimes if they're a good engine, you've got a lot of good communication. It takes a lot of good communication. You can utilize them to a degree in team fights, but you're very, very right. They are more useful, I think, in probably going for those side nodes, which is what he did just then.
So at the moment, guys, just going to update you on scores and caps. We do have, right now, 10 seconds to Rage, currently in the lead. They have 132 points, 133 points now. Each team does have one capture point, and Red Team is behind by about 5 points, or a little more, actually a little more, about 10 points, at 129 points. But Life over here in the middle is, go ahead.
Very equal, sorry. It's good, it's good.
So back over here in the middle, we do have VotF Posy getting DPS down at the moment here. Angel Chaos is going in, but Angel Chaos is going to get that burst turned right back around on him. Tage will be coming in for the stomp on him, and we'll be able to knock him out. Actually, there we go. Yep, Tage is going to be able to get the stomp on Angel Chaos, and Red Team will take another advantage here at middle. Other than that, though, basically everyone is here fighting in mid. We do have Lord Helseth evacuating out of here right now. Is going to be falling back over here now that he does realize, again, this is good team communication right here, realizing no one is on his home node. He's going to go back there, grab that back, and make sure his team can grab the 2-cap. No response as of yet from the blue team after that. There we go. They're going to be sending Chosen Sin, their thief, over there to defend, but at this point, Helseth should be able to get the full cap back at that node and get themselves back under a 2-cap.
Yeah, they're doing well to come back now. Helseth's just taking that. He's gonna have Chosen's coming in now, so you're gonna see the thief versus Helseth. Helseth getting a lot of his clones and phantasms up, trying to get as much damage up as possible. He's actually just floated back to mid to try and get that down on Titanium. I think trying to help them team out there. So he's done pretty well. The bosses are just not going down in this game as well, to be honest. No one likes killing the bosses on this map.
And as we see as well, back over here at the Henge, again, we do have Lipeon on the decap NG, currently knocking people off point. Super is the one offending against him. Lipeon trying his best to keep him off point. He did get the decap, we do need to note that. It was decapped away from Red Team's control, but Super seems to be doing a nice job of trying to take Lipeon down. Lipeon sitting at about 40% health at the moment, does have his heal available. Super Elixir is going to be cut back off in about 10 seconds, but other than that, though, it doesn't have much heals. More Red Team's reinforcements going to be coming in as well here, in the form of, they're going to be having Tage come over here to support. Titanium's in there as well, but with Lipeon seeing this is turning into a team fight, he's going to actually evacuate away. And again, this is smart. He's going to go towards the smaller fights where he's going to have a better chance of actually decapping the node, now that the Henge point has just turned into a full-fledged team fight.
There's enough people on this point. They don't need to put any more guys on it. I love how Blue are in this team fight at the moment, and they're still very much in the game. They're only losing by, well, like 40 points or so. So they're doing well. They maybe need to try and help out Lipeon in the mid. He's against Counscout. This is just going to be a decap fight at the moment, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, the main caps are going on at Henge and Mine, which we've seen a lot of side fights at the moment in all games we've seen on this map.
Yeah. And as we see over here in the middle again, like we were just describing, Lipeon currently going up against Canscout. No one, this is probably going to be stalemated for quite some time. However, Lipeon with his knockback potential should, but again, Canscout does have a lot of dodges to account for. Lipeon should be able to get a full cap over here eventually. Meanwhile, Red Team did just take full control back at the mine. Posey managed to knock out Chosen Sin a few seconds ago and is now letting him just bleed out over here on the side. So Posey will be taking control of that. We just had a portal open too. I think they're going to, Posey's going to come through that. Come back over here to middle actually as Lord Helseth now made his way over here. And with that two-person burst, they're going to be able to knock Lipeon out. Very well coordinated there by the members of VotF. They're going to knock Lipeon over the next few seconds, and Red Team will regain control of that node as well.
They actually get to be contested for a little bit as well. They didn't actually dodge that big bomb, which is normally quite something which isn't that difficult to kind of telegraph and to actually notice. But he did well. I think he needs to revert back to the play going for the side node now, because that midpoint will be contested. So now that they're all respawned and on the map, they need to probably go for that mine point. The boss is still very much alive. Blue are getting a bit wiped now though at the Henge, unfortunately.
And as well as we can see too, Helseth realizes that this was the issue before by they're letting the NG get on the node. So Helseth is like sort of hanging back at the moment. He's hanging between the 2 points. We're not going to go over there because we want to stay watching the fight over here, but you can see it as well. Tage coming in for another stomp. So we do have Chosen Sin and Titanium down over here at the Henge fight. But anyway, we just saw Helseth. He waited in this courtyard, wanted to see where the NG was going, and now he's going to actually take him on and prevent him from actually getting any like free decaps off. As well, Red Team seems to be sort of wiping up over here at Henge, and they're actually going to be getting full control of that too. So looks like VotF is going to be taking a 3-cap now.
Did you see that?
It's unfortunate. They've just slowly got a bit wiped on the map, and just looking over at mine now, it seems to be a bit of a team fight developing over. Oh no, sorry, my bad. Wow, I've got some interesting lag going down on
We've
the
actually
moment.
got 2 members of Chosen Sin and Titanium over here on the blue team, currently trying to chase down Super.
Here we go.
Super is trying to make his way back over here to the mine node. Mine node again was decapped. Mr. managed to sneak his way in there, and he has gotten the decap. And we currently have Titanium as well as Chosen Sin, just really just trying to keep him off the node. They managed to do that successfully, and that did allow blue team to get the full cap off of that. And as well, red team is making their way back over onto the node itself right now, as they want to keep that team fight going. Blue middle as well, that was wiped up. That went again in favor of VOTF. They're going to hold full control of that for the time being. Chosen Sin getting focused in at the moment by Posey and Helsa. They're just trying to keep him as well away from that team fight that probably is going to be happening over here at the mine over the next few seconds. Again, we do have Tage and Super going at it over here. They're currently up against Titanium and Angel Chaos. They pulled Mr. off of that to come out and help with this fight that's going on often over here. And at the same time, Lypion is again going for the decap over here at far. He will get this node for free. Consider the line of scrimmage. No one's going to be able to get there in time in order to stop that cap from going off. But let's actually go over here. Mr. is down in the down state at the moment. Lord Helsa is going to come in for an invuln stop, and he'll get that off with no trouble whatsoever. What's up? Posy is over here too, just trying to keep some of the other members DPS down. Blue team again, does have the 2 cap at the moment, but with red team being so far ahead, Can Scout as well, just took down Chieftain over there, so they get that 25-point boost and that 50-point stat boost to themselves. So as well, they're a little over 50 points away, so more than likely we will be seeing VOTF take this game right now.
Yeah, they've managed to just they really did well. When blue pretty much got wiped, they just took control of the map, and they haven't been able to come back since. So that's just really been pretty much the reason. It only takes a moment like that to lose the match completely. They do have a 2 cap though.
I mean, so. And I actually managed to decap middle there. Lypion managed to get himself in there, pop tornado form, and got Ken Scott off the point. But anyway, something that I was talking about earlier with the issue with this build is if you're not able to constantly get the decaps, constantly keep enough points decapped to justify this decap energy, then it's really not going to be worth it, because you're losing a member on most of those team fights. And again, we talked about this earlier too, where once they held the 2 cap, like this was the first game, it was kind of like this too. Yeah. Once the red team here has gotten the 2 cap, they haven't had the best of luck in actually trying to team fight and get it back, because they have this decap engine. You can't really team fight too well. He's really good at staying alive and keeping people off the point, mainly in 1v1 scenarios. You can sort of do it in 2v1 scenarios, but not as well. But like, you just got to be really good at it. And I don't know, it's highly debated at the moment if it's actually worth it to take up a whole player slot for that sort of utility. Because as you're going to see again, he's going to get wiped out here. Middle and red team will take control of that middle mid back again. And as well,
that's true.
They should be able to get about a half cap, if not a full cap, over at Hen.
There is a nice variation of that spec as well that's going around at the moment. I mean, Red have probably got this only 30 points ahead, so it might be okay to talk about this for a second. But you can go with I think it's the 30 points in. I'm losing my mind because I've been playing Elementalist all day. But going for alchemy and going for the automated response, and then going for 30 in explosives, and then having that 10 in tools to get the speed. So you've got more, and then going for bombs or going for grenades. So then you can get some damage, but still keeping the flamethrower and the other bits and bobs that you need to keep that spec a little bit more worth it. Because you can still do a lot of decapping, and then you will be, like you say, because you've got grenades and whatnot, you'll be able to actually get into those team fights. So if you can switch positions, but I think
actually, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because over here, just the game is pretty much over at this point. They're not going to decap middle. So Chosen Sin over here with about 100 health managed to kill Helseth, and he's now over here engaged Spawner. That was something interesting that happened there. He managed to take out Helseth. Unfortunately, we still got killed by Spawner, but it was still interesting that he got Helseth out there. But nonetheless, we did actually see VOTF take game 1, so they are going to be up 1-0 in the set now.
I think Vengeance of the London have got their number. I think that's what it was. I mean, that's what gave them that edge in the first game, in the game we just saw. Sorry, that they got them those points. So I'm interested to see whether or not it will be a similar kind of match, because they haven't played them before on this map and they don't know how they're going to play with the engine. I think the engine is going to go far again. They'll Red will send 2 to close, but I think they'll keep the 2 guys at close. So this is the thing which is good. It can pull 2 people back to a point if the 2 teams are fairly even. I think if you've got 2 teams which are quite even in skill, even in their team fights and everything, I think an NG like that could pull one person out of the team fight on the opposite team so that you could actually get the edge. But I do think you might have to sacrifice something like a thief to try and get, maybe not, I don't know. But it's difficult, you know. Like you said, whether or not it does mean you should dedicate that whole spot to that whole spec where you can't do much other than decap. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. There's so many varying specs of that at the moment, and even people just popping in a flamethrower so they can get some decaps in. But I think when most people play a spec, they want to know that especially engineers, if you're going to use a flamethrower, it's like a whole set of skills. You don't want to just be using one skill. All right, you've got the 5 skill which does a blind, which is good for downing, but it is just a blind, you know. I mean. You know, I mean, it's what do you do?
Yeah.
But,
All right, so we are going to be going on to round 2 in just a second, guys. We're just waiting, making sure players making sure if players want to change up any of their builds or anything like that. And we'll give them some time to do so. But if not, we will get started right away. But we actually didn't really go over builds for VOTF, so if we want to do that really quick here, Jebro, if you want to go over those for me?
We didn't, did we? So having a look at Mr. Helsef, he has got the Runes of Lesser. He's using the Staff of Energy, and he's using the Greatsword of Energy. So he's going to be doing a lot of dodging. He will be getting off the clones when he's dodging. I think pretty much every Mesmer's got 20 in dueling because they want to get that. But as you can see, he's pretty much playing the Shatter build, and Helsef is good at getting up. He's good at getting up his phantasms and his clones, using them exceedingly well, and he is good at actually getting those shatters off. He's very good Mesmer. We all know how good Helsef is, so I don't need to go over his spec too much, but the reason he's got mass invisibility is to get that the most use he can also out of Lissa runes. It's good for downing, it's good for escaping, it's good for also getting in stealth as well into those points. So it's a very tidy little spec. A lot of Mesmer's playing this spec or variations. Phantasm's got Fury as well, which is always very nice, especially with that 4 ability on the Greatsword, doing a spanking, just does so much AoE damage, it's unbelievable. Tage, probably guess which kind of spec he's playing. He's playing the 05 3035. I think he's been playing this spec for a fair old while now. Very, very capable Guardian there. Super, probably playing a Hammer Longbow spec. Yeah, 10-10, 30-10, 30. Yeah, he's gone for the Dolyak Signet as well, so he's going to be going for a fair bit of stability in his spec. Can Scout uses his spec, his Ranger Spirit spec, so well. It's probably one of the best. Everyone thinks the Ranger Spirit spec, alright, you can spam one and you can be very, very useful to your team in that way. But he looks at his team, he talks to his team, and he'll have his Nature Spirit on cooldown. He'll know when to use it, and he'll use it. I saw one of the best reses I think I've ever seen in this game when he went from the close point in Battle of Kylo, and he went to mid. And he rezzed, I think it was Super actually, but he literally rezzed him. I think it was from the ground floor, and he actually rezzed him when he was up in the midpoint. It was so good. It was awesome clutch play, and it was against, I think it was against Frog in the Guild Wars 2 match final, but it was just so good. Just moving over to Posey quickly, just as is the last one. He's going to be, sorry, just grab onto his spec for a second. 6 set of Nightmare. So he's going to be going for a lot of condition damage, probably going for a Dumbfire spec, yep, indeed.
He's actually running Warhorn. He's going to be running Warhorn. He's got the Warhorn traits and curses. He's got Warhorn traits and curses, so we will assume he's running Warhorn, which will be interesting indeed to see, because we don't really see this kind of. Well, I mean, granted, we do see Condy Mantis all the time, but we usually see an offhand dagger. He is playing offhand Warhorn at the moment, though. It's
surprising seeing that, because he's got Locust Swarm, but then he's also got Spectral Walk as well. I know obviously that's the Stunbreaker. But the speed, I mean, essentially, maybe that's what he's using it for. So he's trying to go for a bit more mobility. I've seen a lot of Necros starting to get a bit more mobility now. Maybe that's what they're doing. Even with the power specs, most people are starting to favour Warhorn. And that AoE interrupt is really nice as well. Days for 3 seconds is quite a lot. That's pretty nice. I like it. It's nice to see some difference. Good.
And before we get started, somebody asked us to actually go over Blue Team's Thieves build real quick. He is running with 6 into Alyssa, as well as Sword Dagger, with Shortbow, Berserker's Aim, and the traits are going to be 1030, 030, 0. And we should be getting started in just a second.
I could outrun a centaur.
Just waiting for people to ready up, and as soon as we do, we'll get started. But as well, let's go over the rest of Blue Team's builds for those that are wondering. Mister at the moment here is running on a Warrior build with 6 runes of Lissa, as well running Hambo with the Zerkers. That's going to allow him to do more damage compared to, again, if he was running Soldiers. Traits themselves are going to be 0, 0, 30, 10, 30. This is your pretty typical Hambo build. Again, lots of AoE, lots of CC to consider. It is a huge asset to team fights, and it can be very good in smaller skill scenarios as well. Angel Chaos is going to be on Spirit Ranger with 6 runes of Forge, as well as a Shurpo, Sword, Warhorn with the Settler's Amulet. It's going to allow him to put a little bit more healing and be pretty tanky, but granted, Carrot Amulet could make him a little bit tankier, but he has opted to go for that healing support. And then the traits themselves are going to be 10, 0, 30, 30, 0. Lypion, again, on Decap Engineer here with 6 runes of Alandru, as well as the Rifle, Cleric's Amulet, and the traits are going to be 0, 0, 30, 30, 10. For those of you watching, you know how annoying this build is. It's very hard to deal with in a 1v1 scenario, almost impossible to deal with in a 1v1 scenario if played correctly, and very annoying to deal with in 1v2 scenarios even, so it's a very strong build. To put on the far point, unfortunately, it doesn't help out as much in team fights, so you sort of have to sacrifice that in order to gain pretty much almost constant decaps at far point. And then last but not least, we have Titanium on Bunker Guard with 6 runes with the Soldier, Scepter Focus with the Staff, Cleric's Amulet, and the traits being 0, 5, 5, 30, 30. And that's about it. All teams are readied up, so we're about to get started, guys.
Excitement is happening.
Let's open up our map and check out the splits. Coming directly out of the gates here, trying to see where everybody's going. It looks like we're going to be having Lord Helseth capture the home node here for the red team, going over there to Quarry at the moment. Blue team, they're going to be sending, I think, 2. Yep, they're going to be sending 2 to their home node. Warrior as well as Angel Cross, their Spirit Ranger. Other than that, though, red team is going to have Can Scout making his way up here. Doesn't look like he actually wants to go for Water, considering he did see the 2 here. He'll rejoin mid fight more than likely. We also have Super up here. He's going to try to engage Lypion here, as pretty obviously Lypion is going to be going for the far cap. Other than that, though, it's just going to be a 3v3 in middle for control of that. And we do have the blue team Thief already engaged some of the members. We're going pretty deep in to try and engage that too.
Yeah, they've made a... I'm not sure what they... Ooh, Lypion needs to get on the point, otherwise he's pretty much not doing what he's supposed to do. He just wandered off there. He did see, look, Super ran back. Super actually ran back to do that. So they did pull 2 guys out of the mid fight, but I'm not sure whether or not it's actually done anything to help their situation in mid. They do have their close points, so they've dedicated 4 guys to mid. And they've got Lypion, who's going to be able to last a while against the Mesmer because he's got some bombs, so he can get some AoE damage. He's got Flamer, so he can get down those. He can get down those clones and phantasms pretty quick if he wants to. But also Helseth is a pretty good Mesmer, so he's going to be getting those shatters off as soon as he can.
And as well, Lord Helseth currently over here. He's going to be re-engaging on a Lypion in just a second here, just trying to get the burst off Lypion. He's got about half the point capped in his team's favor. Posey can rejoin as well, but actually no, Posey's going to go down to some residual conditions, as I believe he was engaged a few seconds ago, but he should. No, hold on, Titanium may come up here, try to get the stomp off on him. We'll have to see. Tage's going to come in, Contage, get the interrupt off. Oh, no, Stability Stomp will be there, and Titanium will be able to execute a stomp there on Posey. So interesting move there by Titanium, actually going completely off the point, forcing the Hambo Warrior over here to tank and damage for a little bit while he does go up there and get the stomp, but it seemed to have been worth it because they did manage to knock out Posey.
Yeah, and Posey is one of the strongest players he's one of the players who's doing a significant amount of DPS, as well as Helseth. Those 2 guys are going to be doing a lot of damage. Obviously, Super will be doing his amount as well, but he's going to be more focused on trying to get that CC down and trying to get the stuns down as much as he possibly can, try and tank maybe Bunker on the point a little bit. So we've got this 2v2 fight going on. Blue do still have a point at the moment. They do have Quarry actually. So see, look, here we go. He's got 2 guys over at the close. He's actually got the 2 damage people as well.
Yeah, Super and Waterfall as well had been tanking 1v2 for quite some time. He was just eliminated, but granted, I'm pretty sure he was holding a 1v2 for probably a minute or longer, which was pretty good there for a Hambo Warrior, so congrats to that over there. And again, back over here, Decap NG had been holding control of this point node for some time, but he was finally knocked out in that 1v1 between Helseth and Lypion. I think he had the 2v1 for a little bit there, but again, Helseth did manage to finally get the kill now, and they are going to be taking control of that point. Blue team as well managed to wipe things up at middle, or at Waterfall by wiping out Super, so they'll get that point. Each team will now have 1 capture point, and now they'll come to mid for that big old team fight once more.
Oh, Ken Scout's just waiting for his spirits to come off. Cooldown's going to be starting to pop those off as soon as he can, really. Lord Helseth doing what he can. Hopefully someone from Blue is going to see that he's on the point just trying to range, but I think he's just nipping back to he's just having a look to make sure the engineer is just always, the same thing. I feel so sorry for the guy.
And here he goes. He's going there too. It looks like he's gonna make his way over there. You can see it on the mini map. This is another thing too that the decap NG is gonna keep your team with, is that basically it forces someone to constantly be keeping an eye on them. They're not really focused on the team fight. They always have to be looking back over at that home point, make sure that NG isn't making his way over there. And if they get too focused on middle, if they actually do try to focus on the middle fight and try to take people down, they're probably gonna lose the cap over there at home, because the NG will just sneak right past you. It is that big advantage you gain, but again, you are losing basically one person in team fights, because it doesn't really do much in those team fights, with the exception of the knockbacks, which again aren't really going to be as potent in the team fights. And we actually saw Helseth actually, along with Posey, fell back here, and now Lypion is unfortunately not really going to be able to make much progress now that both Posey and Helseth are here on the node.
Yeah, now also Angel is going down over at the close point of blue, unfortunately. He's going down to Super. Super doing a really nice job, getting the interrupt off on there. He's not be able to get the res, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to get that heal off in time. Seeing that nice little tournament cup coming down on the face of the Ranger there. Did see Mr. is going to try and come back and try and keep waterfall contested. Backpack. I should have said backpack. Went for the wrong word there. But this mid fight's looking fairly exciting at the moment. I think Titanium's pretty much the only one up.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we did see VOTF making some pretty serious progress over here. They're really close to capping this Titanium. Going to be forced off the node. He's trying to move around, trying to wait for some cooldowns to come off here so he can hopefully keep himself healed. By stepping off of there, that did allow Helseth to get about 66% of the capture there going in favor of VOTF, but they don't have it full just yet. As well, Angel Chaos Spear Ranger is going to be coming in, providing more support, more procs from those spirits, as well as hopefully keeping the members alive. Again, VOTF Super is going to be crossing as well. It looks like he's going to be heading over here to the home node, where we did see Lypion getting knocked out, so I'm curious to see why Super is actually going back there. There we go. I think they called it off now, and he's going to be coming in, and they're just going to focus full-heartedly on middle. They said, guys, we've been screwing around too much. We need to get this middle node. We need to get the middle node in our control so that we can stop with this back-half nonsense. Just start taking a lead. It's probably. It's honestly probably what's going on in their heads right now.
Yeah,
this thing with the NG is going to keep happening. If we go full 5 in middle, even if they bring their NG to middle, he's not going to be able to do much. Because one of the people who I've discussed this with was Helseth, and he's one of the people that firmly believe that the decap NG can't really do anything in the team fight. So they're probably thinking right now, we can easily win this 5v4. Just take this, we'll hold this node for the rest of the game, and then we'll finally have a constant node, and we can start pushing ourselves ahead to a pretty safe lead advantage.
I think you do need to move a few traits around here and there to make it more. I think the decap NG is definitely a solo queue saver.
Yeah,
will be annoying.
That's
teams.
what I do think it is. I think it's a very strong skill field for solo queue, where teams aren't necessarily organized. They're not on TeamSpeak. They're not always together and coordinated. And you can take advantage of that by running a build that allows you to hold off 2, sometimes even 3 players at once for extended periods of time. And that obviously, again, that allows your other teammates, when you're in a solo queue scenario, to actually just win the other fights just by sheer number advantage. But in here, you have the comms, you have the communication, you're able to rotate properly because these people are practiced. So it's not going to work as effectively, in my opinion.
One thing it's nice against is when he's against the Ranger with Spirit Spec, because he can't get a lot of his damage off. So it's not quite nice against the Ranger, but I think Ranger's got a little bit more use than the Engineer, unfortunately, with that spec in the team fights with the Spirits. But I don't think mid's actually been capped in the match, has it?
Nope. We have another game here where, and I talk about this a lot in my solo cast too, where the mid node, it's always on this map. Mid node, I've seen 2 or 3 games now where the entire game went by without the mid node ever being capped. It was just always contested. Sometimes it gets so bad that like the Guardians or whoever the bunkers are, like on NA you'll sometimes see a bunker warrior in here. Sometimes it'll get so bad that like if there's not actually an active team fight going on, the 2 bunkers will just AFK while they wait for someone to come and help them. Because they can't obviously do anything to each other. So
it's so true.
But right
it's so
now,
true. I would know that.
It is going on. The team fight up to this point, at least, has mainly been in favor of VOTF, but as we're seeing now, VOTF is focusing a little bit better on the side nodes. They have CanScout over here. CanScout actually doing a fairly nice job in 1v1ing Lypion. Has been able to keep the node cap for quite a bit there. Is almost about to lose it. If Lypion can get 1 or 2 more CCs off, he might be able to get the decap. Back over here at the waterfall too. Super once again doing work in this 1v1, just trying to keep Angel Chaos down, just trying to keep him out of the mid fight now, as he's just going to be CCing him back on the way over there. But other than that, though, again, we do have VOTF taking the lead. I think VOTF may be, considering the time at this point, considering there were only 7 minutes left in this game, and they've just crossed the 200-point border. So So again, this game may come down to time as well. In addition, we had the last round that involved this team, that involved 10 seconds to rage. That came down to time there too, so I think it may happen again here too if things continue the way they are now.
That's it indeed, man. I mean, if they actually held this kind of point range, if they got another 30-40 points back into the match, they could go for a low kill and get a win. I mean, these are all kind of things to discuss, whether or not they would, because they could keep the engineer in the map. That might work, and then they could keep the Guardian at mid potentially for a bit. But as they're starting to go ahead, there's 120 points, they wouldn't be able to get there, get the kill, and actually get the match. Unfortunately, they need to get some points back.
And now Helseth too opting to bleed out Leipzig back over here too, just so he doesn't have to deal with him for a longer period of time by letting him bleed out there. Again, they just don't want to deal with it. But I mean, again, if you are out rotating your opponents here, the decap NG shouldn't be that much of an issue. And again, we are seeing VOTF is doing a nice job at out rotating them. They've finally taken mid. I think they're finally going to cap it. And as well, they have pretty decent numbers back over here on Waterfall. They had a 3v3, but it's now turned into a 3v3. But with Tage supporting them, Tage is easily one of the best Bunker Guardians in this game. So I think Tage should actually be able to hold off this 1v3 for quite a bit of time, in my opinion. So I think they should be good. And with that, too, they have more reinforcements coming. So even that, they're going to re-engage the 3v3 team fight and keep things rolling over here. And again, to no surprise, we are going to be having Lightbeyond make his way over there to Quarry. And that's another issue, too, with the decap NG, is it's extremely predictable. Because you're almost always going to be going for Farpoint. So as long as you're keeping an eye on it, you almost always know where that NG is. And it's not necessarily like granted, I'm trying to see, is he actually running speedy kits with it at the moment? Yeah, he is.
He had 10,
so
yeah.
he doesn't have that perma swiftness, but again, the engineer is not, I wouldn't necessarily describe as a sneaky roamer. You usually can see where the engineers are moving around the map. So, especially on a decap NG, he's going to be pretty easy to spot where he's going, and that's another disadvantage of running a build like this. Especially if you have proper comms rolling and everything.
It's very true. I mean, he is doing well with the. He is actually using the smoke bomb and then the blast with the rifle, or the blast with the elixir gun to get that stealth off in the beginning. But unfortunately, like, because he did it so much in the first match, there's pretty much no point in doing that. He's getting a little bit of surprise. But the only thing which would actually give him more DPS would actually be going for the elite kit. Which would actually help him get a lot more DPS. I mean, now they've just pulled off a free cap. Lifion might be better, and just trying to see if they can get in the team fight, see how useful it's going to be.
They've got the 3 cap. I think they have the advantage necessary to take the second victory here and move themselves on to the final. But again, I think it all ended up coming down to like rotations here towards the end. They had Helseth pretty much back here, making sure he could always 1v1 against this NG, and he had been 1v1ing almost always against an NG successfully, so they were able to keep that point in contention for quite some time. And then back at... And then back at mid 2, they are going to lose the cap there, but with Tage, again, I want to go over Tage here. Tage is holding currently, has been holding against 3 members of the blue team. It's now only 2, but Tage has basically been invulnerable over here at Waterfall the whole time. Always has cleanses ready, always is ready to go. He's a really good Bunker Guardian, and that is just a huge asset to have on your team. If you have someone who can keep not only your teammates alive, but can keep yourself alive and keep a point capped in your favor, that's an amazing asset to have, and Tage is definitely one of the better players in this game. So with that, we are going to be seeing VOTF take the game, and they will be moving on to the grand finals.
Good job, very good job. I just wanted to say say something very, very quickly as we just watched this map. If you're in chat, we have 431 people currently in the chat. I guarantee that 431 people aren't serious SPVP players. So the reason we go over these specs a lot, and we potentially theory craft, and the way we talk about the specs is very, very useful to these guys. Also, people that put build videos out there as well. It's always good to nice to theory craft while we're playing these matches, especially when guys are running new teams and new specs. It helps them, it helps us, and it definitely helps anyone that's new to SPVP, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get guys interested in the game, make them aware of different specs, different possibilities, and also sometimes people genuinely play a spec which they actually find fun, and they're better at it because they actually have fun with it. Like we were talking about Sizer earlier with his spec might not be the most powerful, but he's damn good at it. And he will be one of the most influential thieves in this game world, not EU, not in just one area. He is one of the best thieves, and he's not playing the best build. So I just wanted to kind of mention that to the chat, just to say that a lot of these specs, it's a lot about the player as well, not just the build.
Alrighty, guys, we got grand finals coming up in just a few moments. Make sure you guys stick around for that. It is going to be good. We're going to be having the same finals as last week. We've got that rematch coming up. It's once again going to be Vengeance of the Fallen taking on Cheese Mode. We will be back. Ooh. Definitely the rematch we've been waiting for, guys. For those of you that saw last week's ESL finale, it came down to a millisecond timing Lord kill. And Helsa's team, we had somebody in a YouTube comment actually did some math on it, and assuming it was correct, I don't know if it was or not, ended up coming down to 1/37th of a second.
No way.
The time at which they killed that Lord. So Cheese Mode is definitely looking forward to some revenge today, and we will have to see if they get it as we go into the grand finals. But we're going to take about a 5 to 10 minute break, guys. We will be back. We're also going to do another gem giveaway in the chat. You guys are going to need to wait for me to start it this time in the chat before I do it. But we are going to give away another 800 gem code in there, and then we will be returning with the grand finals. So stick around, guys. We'll be back in just a